But back to the defensive coordinator conversation. We named those three.
Baker feels like the hottest name right now. He's trending on Twitter. It makes a ton of sense. He coached with Joe Sloan at Louisiana Tech.
Which is crazy. Not only did he coach with him at La Tech, wasn't he the DC at Tech?
I don't know if he's a DC or linebackers coach. Let me see. I have it.
Part of me feels like he was the DC and Sloan was the OC at La Tech.
Yeah, he was the DC at Louisiana Tech from 15 to 18, former two-lane linebacker. So they're running back the Tech staff.
How crazy is that? And they were good. 15 to 18, they were really good. Obviously they've gone different spots.
They were better than LSU offensively. I don't know about defensively, but that's just talent.
They've gone different spots and they've made their name. So like Blake Baker sounds like he's the hot name right now. An interesting name. He's not going to get the job, but I was always a fan of his. Was Jim Leonard?
Oh, yeah, he's
still poking around right now.
He's an analyst.
He's an
analyst at Illinois, but he was a DC at Wisconsin.
Yeah,
he'll be at Alabama.
And they're really good.
Oh, and he got spurned from the Wisconsin job after Fickle made a hire. After Fickle got the head coaching job, he thought he was going to get that head coaching job.
Right.
Then Brett Bielema, who is the head coach at Illinois, hired him because he played for him. And so he got 1 year as an analyst. He will 1,000% either be a defensive coordinator somewhere or –
Yeah, I mean, the defenses at Wisconsin when he was –
he's a stud.
He was 17, 22. Didn't LSU play? When did LSU play Wisconsin to start the season?
And 21. No, 18. No,
he was the
16.
DC. No, so it was before. That's what I'm saying. Was it 16 or 18?
I think it was 16 in Lambeau, right?
It was when Melvin Gordon was still there, right?
Tre'Davious White with the pick. That's all we had. But, yeah, that's when you played him at Lambeau. I don't know if that was Dave Aranda's first year at LSU, and then Leonard was there.
I'm trying to that's too. I don't know. I can't do it right now. You can do it while I talk. But I don't know if he was the defense coordinator there or not. But yeah, I think he's a really good. I don't think he's going to get the job here. But that's another. There's just a lot of guys. Zach Arnett's another name that's been thrown out there. Mississippi State's DC.
Yeah.
Who has flirted with LSU before.
Yep, was the head coach. Obviously the DC, known to be really good. Runs a 3-3-5, which is a little bit different type of scheme that LSU is used to running. I don't know if they're necessarily equipped up front for the 3-3-5, but
well, it would make sense considering the attrition that you've had on the defensive line. With now that Mikkie Wingo's gone, you don't know what Mason Smith is going to do. It kind of feels like you only have.
But would it make sense on the back end right now?
No, that's
right.
But no, like the more and more you talk about Blake Baker, and the more his name pops up, it makes as much sense
exactly
as like the Diaco hire would, where he was somebody that was in the building that would be.
And I don't know about Diaco. I think Blake Baker's above him on that list.
Oh, me too.
I think you keep Diaco on staff.
But I'm saying the same train of thought.
Yeah.
Like you would be able to communicate with him of people that you've worked with, that none of these hires would be a shock to the system for him. He would be able to come in and work again with Corey Raymond. It was essentially him getting forced out by Matt House, and from everything you've heard from House, he forced out Jamar Cain. Like he was tough to work with, and it became, it came part of probably why he was fired. Where, okay, if we're not making any changes, the defense never got better.
Tyron liked him though.
Yeah, in Kansas City. I think
Kansas City.
Probably professional relationship different than college relationship.
Yep, no doubt. I'd imagine, when do you think they're going to make the decision final?
I mean, it's moving this quickly.
I imagine before the weekend.
I would imagine it might get announced this week. I could see a world where that would happen.
Yeah, I would say in the next 24 to 48 hours, where if it's – think about how coaching hires usually happen. Look, okay, you have the news. There's no news coming up to today, and it's been on the docket for a while. Immediately you
knew it was going to happen after the bowl game.
Right, but you knew something was happening. You didn't know if it was going to be firing your defensive coordinator or not. That happens, and then the other foot drops immediately where you're starting to see Baker blow up. Like it feels like they kind of had this as a plan of action if you were able to get the money together to pay the buyout, which was one of the sticking points with Matt House. Because, like I said, you just gave him an extension after he was on
the whole staff cost what? Just under $6 million, I think, to buy them all out. 5-point-something million.
Right. It is LSU, but it's a lot of money to be able to just we just invested in all of these guys. Like you just
could be A&M though.
Right. It could be $86 million.
Yeah.
It's not. And so but now you have to buy out that staff and then pay for a new staff. So it is wholesale changes, but I don't think you make these moves without having your ducks in a row. And if we've seen how Scott Woodward's operated and how Brian Kelly's operated, like this isn't the old LSU where everything is getting leaked. You don't know what's what.
Which is also a great point, right? So there was a Brandon Taylor, our friend. He's been on the show a few times. Teammate of yours. We were around LSU at the same time. He quote tweeted one of our tweets. Basically, we talked about how we don't think that the social media and the outbursts by a few of the players and like some of the tweets and stuff that were sent by the players made the decision for Brian Kelly. Obviously, Brian Kelly had the decision made before. But his point to that was it was very impressive for a head coach and an organization to keep these decisions in-house without leaking them out to the public before they were made, right? Because these decisions were already made, right? He had already made his mind up that he was that they're fired. At some point before the bowl game, he had made that decision up. Nobody heard it in the media. Nobody knew what was going on. It was pretty much dead silent. And that's a sign, to me, of a good program.
Professionalism.
No doubt. Because the minute you start getting all these conversations around people leaving, people not leaving, that's when a lot of dysfunction happens. That's when a lot of toxicity happens within the organization. And when you don't, this happens, and now it's a conversation until they make a decision. It just seems like they were prepared for it. Now it's his point.
Even with the Corey Raymond situation, like, still to this day, nobody knows, right? So, like, if Corey was –
it's all speculation.
Corey was parted ways with Florida after, week 11, 12? Like, literally a while back, right? We still don't know. So if they're able to bring him on here in some capacity, for it to sit there that long and you not know, that shows you a lot. Because there's no way that conversation just started over the last week or so, if that is a thing,
No doubt. Man, a Blake Baker staff with Raymond. Because here's the deal: you sign you bring Blake Baker back, our linebackers instantly get better. I think
he was Harold Perkins' lead recruiter.
I think the happiest person in the building is Harold Perkins, because now I have a guy
that gets me,
who understands what I want to do.
Play a little running back.
That was wild, by the way. He scored, and I'm like, didn't John Emery tear his ACL? And I'm like, no way. They just
these damn double numbers.
No way. They just handed the ball off to Harold Perkins.
In the split veer.
And not only did they hand it off to him, this man was looking for contact.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was a great running back in high school.
Yeah, there was real conversation about what position he was going to play.
He was the same as Devin White.
Right, except his running back film, he has a little bit more juice, but same.
Who? Harold Perkins.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, no doubt. I mean.
No, but it was the same thing where it's like he was the number, like, Devin White was the number one running back in the state.
Yeah.
It's like Caleb Jackson. Like, what position do you want to play?
Right. And so
Caleb Jackson was lead blocking for him.
That was wild.
Second effort?
I was like, wait.
I did the same thing.
All year you waited. Now you give him one carry. You have 17 running backs on your roster. Let me hand it off to him. That's awesome.
Well, I think
that was great.
I mean, is that not the ultimate like substitute teacher teaching the class? Like, y'all want to have a little fun today? Like when you have two co-OCs of like, oh, come, we could put one thing in.
That was the ultimate. Easy to get you here, hard to keep you here. Got to keep my boy happy. Remember the touchdown when I just scored? Come on now.
Hey,
it did leave the field.
You want to talk about winning the Heisman? You got to score some touchdowns, coach. We can give you the goal line back if you want.
Play wide. They need to put him at corner.
Plant the seed.
But I think if they bring Blake Baker back,
punt returner,
you have 4 linebackers, or you have 3 linebackers coming back that I think that you're pretty comfortable playing every down, right? Obviously Harold Perkins. Penn's coming back. I think he's proven like you're comfortable with him being there. He understands the calls. He understands where everybody needs to be.
Made plays in the bowl game.
Yes. Like, he made plays at the end of the year, the one-hand interception against A&M. Like, he came on strong at the end of the year.
Got the sack at the end of the Wisconsin
game.
Like, yes. I think he played well.
Exactly. And you have Whit Weeks. So you have those 3 guys, plus you got the 2 freshmen from Texas who I think they're very high on. I think they're going to be really good impact players earlier than most people think. And Blake Baker's proven to you and shown you that he can have the linebackers playing at a very, very high level. And so I'm looking forward to that. You know, and I think that it's gonna ease some minds of the fans of, are we gonna be able to keep Harold Perkins, because they're coming at him. Ole Miss is definitely coming at Harold Perkins.
Oh, it's open season. Whatever you have, look at what LSU is going through as of right now, where you have no offensive coordinator, you have no defensive coordinator. This is open season on a roster.
And that's the next
if you think for 1 second that everybody that ended the recruiting trail is the number 2 or the number 3 on anybody that's on LSU's defense right now, didn't go back to the Rolodex and say, hey, yo, what you got?
What's good over there?
You good?
A lot of dysfunction.
If you think those questions aren't happening, you're crazy.
Who's your coach?
You're crazy.
No doubt. And look, for the most part, they've kept it all together. That's why I think it's so important for them to make a decision. I think a decision on these guys that are here currently, that a familiar face. And that's why I'm talking myself more into this Blake Baker thing. I've always been a fan of him.
Me too.
But
he was a finalist for the job before he left, before he was –
right. And that's the thing. He didn't leave on bad terms. He did not leave on bad terms. Could have been worse terms. Was it bad terms?
I wouldn't say bad terms, but he definitely thought he probably should have gotten a fair shake at the opportunity, and he was kind of one of those that was caught in the same situation Corey Raymond was.
But he was a finalist.
I'm clearing house.
So it wasn't like he didn't get talked to.
No.
At that point.
But
Corey Raymond, I feel like, left in a worse spot than Blake Baker.
And it would be a huge blow to Missouri, who was building up to be a perennial. Their run next year was going to be.
Yeah, but that's 1 year.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, you're bringing back your quarterback, you bring back Luther Burden. Their defense was good. If you're able to hurt somebody within the mega conference, that's another good swing for LSU. And like you said, he's more of a Louisiana guy. He didn't want to leave. I guess my greater point. So it makes all the sense in the world. I don't know if it's done or not, but how quickly this is being reported and how fast things are moving within an hour and a half, you have a leading candidate.
Shit, then maybe this may happen tonight. I think it's done. I think it's done. In my mind.
That's kind of where I'm at too. Where if you make
not necessarily with him, I think it is him, but I think whoever's the DC, I think it's done.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You make a move on house like this, it's because you got a commitment from insert name, and it feels like